Hi guys. Hello users. Hello everyone who's joined me today. This is the weekly crypto session, which where I talk about recent updates from India and some global updates that are gonna probably impact the Indian market and how everything is shaping up. And my name is Diksha and I'm the PR manager at Gate.io. Um, so let's get started. So, latest news that's coming in from India, this week is that uh, the finance ministry has proposed a draft, and they have submitted, like a draft which talks about that which could potentially ban cryptocurrencies in the coming in the upcoming months. But that's just a draft. Not yet. Nothing has been passed, and nothing has been zero on. So it's just a draft, and the community is really positive that such a booming industry will not be banned again, especially when recently the ban was uplifted, and this cannot happen again because the market's really growing and there've been so many investments, and there's a lot of stuff happening in India. So let's see what happens. But this is what it is as of now. uh, However, the community is also hoping for some positive regulation. Like, regulation is not bad, it's just that if you have a framework, a regulated framework that supports the cryptocurrencies, in a positive manner, like it allows you to trade, and whoever's interested, and sort of supports the market. So positive regulations are always good. So let's see what happens. And also, as and I've been talking about the crypto appetite of the country, which is really great, with all the booming numbers, the digital adoption numbers, be it the cell phone adoption or the internet adoption. So all these numbers are really supportive, which really support, and the industry has also been very instrumental uh, in providing and generating jobs, in the market, and not just in India, also across the world in various domains like tech, and business, finance, and across various functions like compliance, legal. It's generating jobs for a lot of people in the country. So uh, it's very important that the regulations are positive and they support the ongoing boom that's happening in India. And let's hope for the best. So uh, also globally, if you see, a lot of these governments have, for example, Japan, they have always supported the crypto adoption, and even in the US, US has always been. I mean, they have not been that clear on their stance when it comes to cryptocurrencies, but they're taking baby steps, and there are in sporadically there are things happening that will that sort of indicate that the U.S. government is thinking in a positive direction. And for example, there is a blockchain startup which is called as KRNC, which has received a grant of about $225,000. It's a research grant, and it's been given by the National Science Foundation, which is an independent agency of the U.S. government. And the grant will be used to create a new protocol that could add crypto features uh, to people's current fiat currency, which is government issued currency. So basically, it will take the influence of Bitcoin, and it'll add them to the money that the public already has. For example, people do that. Governments have been doing this for gold. So if the influence of gold and how, if considering the influence of gold and how much will I have if the government were to calculate. So they're going to do that for Bitcoin and add it to the money value of the public that they to the money that they're already holding. So it's a virtual equivalent of gold, basically. You know, to everyone's dollars bills. So this is something very very interesting that's happening in some corner of the US. So so all the governments have been it shows that they have been positive. So we just hope for the best in India. Also, Consensus, which is a blockchain software technology company. It's based in the US. They have announced that they are also getting into they're getting into the analytics game, crypto research and analytics game, with the launch of something known as the Codify Compliance, which is an analytics suite, that focuses on decentralized finance on Ethereum and can track up to 280,000 tokens. And it would. They mentioned that it would, since decentralized finance is does not have KYC, it's completely decentralized. So they said that this would not reveal any identifiable information. So and also meanwhile, a chain analysis that's a really famous name. They have introduced investigation and compliance support for Dash and Zcash, which are the tokens. So these are privacy points, basically, and chain analysis explained that only 9% of Dash transactions are using its privacy feature, which is called the private send, and rest of the transactions, are not using the privacy feature. Even 0.9% of the Zcash transactions are completely shielded. So they still can provide information on the rest of the transactions for both Dash and Zcash, which comes to about 99% of the Zcash activity, for instance. So that's exciting, because these analytics and software companies. Obviously, I mean, software companies that are going to run analytics and the research reports are very important, because it provides a lot of base for a lot of these figures, that what's happening in the market, and how some of these points are doing, and what's there for what's there ahead in the roadmap. So I think these companies are also instrumental in the ecosystem overall. So and also there's something exciting that I got to know. I read this week is that so there was a survey done by this company called Fidelity. It comes out that 80% of the institutional investors are in Europe, which is a great. These kind of figures are really. So, I mean, this was a survey done for about 800 institutional investors, and as I said, across US and Europe. And they found that almost 80% are intrigued and are interested in cryptocurrency. And with 36% have already invested in them. So 36% of these investors are already in the market, more bullish than the US. There were just 27%, which is still a growth. Time it was 1 year ago, it was just 22. Growth from 22 to 27%. Additionally, the exposure of US investors to digital asset futures also jumped a lot. It jumped from 9% to 20%, which is quite a lot. So that's something interesting and very encouraging. So I thought I would share with you. And you would know that there's this Ethereum keeps updating their 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 system. And recently, I think in my last session, we discussed that the Ethereum addresses have crossed 100 million in numbers. So that's also something to note, and it's something that's trending this week. The total number of unique Ethereum addresses have surpassed 100 million um, this week. So, and what's worth noting here is that since many users have multiple addresses, a lot of users have multiple addresses, and some addresses can also be created by trading bots, for instance. Or so the total number of Ethereum addresses with that hold some balance, or probably with a non-zero balance, are just 40 million. So that's a big that's a big thing to note in this. And while daily active addresses are just about 1/100th of that, at 400,000, down from a high of 700,000 at the peak of which was 700,000 was in 2018 during the ICO bubble. So these numbers are worth noting. I mean, while some of these headlines don't give us these details, I thought it's worth noting that it's even though the unique addresses are there, but the number of active users are still around 40 million. Also, something very, very interesting coming up is that Microsoft's Bitcoin-based identity tool, which is called Ion, is going to go live. They were already in the beta phase, but now I think they're going live. And also, I think this is also because the COVID-19 and how it has actually highlighted the possible applications of blockchain-based identity. Useful this could be with being there. So that which is called Ion is anchored where it that could be done in a decentralized innovative, right? Interesting thing is that the human in the US, any company or any user, the Bitcoin development. So they've launched a fund to support developers who are making the Bitcoin network more private, more decentralized, and resilient, so that it can better serve as a financial tool for human rights activists, civil society organizations, societies generally in the world. The first recipient has already been gifted. It's working on something which makes it harder to trace Bitcoin transactions, which is adding to the decentralized function there. So yeah, I mean, this fund is open, and the gifts will be given to anyone who's working on the Bitcoin development. So as I was saying, that Ethereum improvement proposal is something that that works on the Ethereum improvement constantly, and they keep you updated with their blog. And the new proposal, which is called the EIP 1599, is the biggest change, and it's going to be a game changer for the users, because if you noticed earlier this week, Ethereum transaction there was an Ethereum transaction with a 2.6 million fee, and it sort of if you I saw some of the tweets, the community was in real shock. I mean, 2.6 million in fee is a huge number. And also it followed a second transaction from the same address, that also paid about 2.6 million in Ethereum fees. And there were some other transactions also in a few $100,000 dollars. So this was really a shock, um, and then it sort of came about that Ethereum improvement proposal, which is the EIP 1559, aims to solve and reduce the rate of such incidences occurring in the Ethereum blockchain in the future. So it's going to be a significant change for the users, basically, of not just for users but also for miners and wallet providers, and would be the largest change to how users bid in the block space or any of the major blockchains. What it does is that it proposes that as much as possible, all transactions should be paying the same kind of fees, the same fee rate, which means with users deciding whether to pay the fees or not, and not how much to bid. And second, it would also allow for more variation in the block size to account for the fact that the demand for block space can actually fluctuate from time to time. This would also allow some blocks to be larger and some to be and others to be smaller, while enforcing an average block size limit to it. So this is all covered in the EIP 1559. It would also untie network security from transaction fee by instead burning transaction fees and incentivizing miners by a perpetual block subsidy. These are some of the changes that are going to be happening in the EIP 1559. And some fun bits, to end the conversation today. There'll be a movie made, and it's based on the Bitcoin Billionaires book, which is written by Ben Mesrich, and he was also the author of Accidental Billionaires, which was a base for the movie, the super famous movie called The Social Network, which was about Facebook. And the author has recently published a new book, which is called Bitcoin Billionaires. There's going to be a movie made on this. So that was for today, guys. Let me know what. I'm in Singapore. I'm just reading some of the comments. I'm in Singapore right now. Yeah. So that was it, guys, and I'll see you next week. So stay safe and have fun. Have a great day.